back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're going to discuss the relationship between Libra and Aquarius. So these two are a pretty average compatibility. Their average is about 68% for intimacy. The reason being is Libra and Aquarius, they have an interesting sexual compatibility in that Libra always looks for approval from others, and it's hard for them to build an emotional connection unless they get that sense of attraction from their said partner. Whereas Aquarius will bring out that because they will be attracted to them if they're dating them, of course. However, they don't really care about the genuine attention that they receive. Aquarius is very much the black sheep. They're the rebel. They go the opposite direction than everybody else. And because of that, they're really able to be sort of the Libra's actualizer in a sense. Whereas they're able to help them switch their perspective in regards to how they view people and make them less attached to that and more so value themselves. So this is a very thumbs up in that regard because they're able to really help the Libra increase in confidence. And even though it just has to do with sexuality, this actually spreads across other spectrums of life as well. So just their social life and their career. So that definitely brings quite a great benefit in that regard. Where things go a bit south is when it comes to not so much really trust, but their communication. Their trust, both of them are a bit insecure in different ways, but they're able to actually provide security to one another, another A1 thing. But when the communication hits is when things go a little bit south, as I was saying. Their perspectives to life is just very different. Their social life is where Libra wants everybody to sort of accept them and like them, and they want to make sure that people really appreciate them and so forth, and then realize the things that they're doing. Whereas Aquarius, no matter if it comes for business or social life, they want to go the opposite direction than everybody else. So this can cause arguments in very simple things such as getting lunch, getting even just a meal of anywhere, just because they'll have different sort of opinions on things. Whereas the Libra will try to appease the Aquarius person, and the Aquarius will say, well, what do you actually want? And this can cause a stupid petty argument out of nowhere. So that's where things kind of go south for them. But aside from that, as long as there's compromise there, this does bring about a pretty average sort of relation. If Aquarius is unable to really show the attention that Libra desires or is a little bit too distant and aloof in their life, that's why I've only given them 68%, because Aquarius usually is a very detached sort of sign that doesn't really need that cooperation even within an intimate relationship. They can kind of just go off and do their own thing and come back when they're ready. And Libra is a very much home-loving, caring person that wants somebody to be around to, of course, cuddle with and spend time with and communicate with on the daily and have a routine going with them. Aquarius doesn't do routines. They do whatever their mind speaks to that day. So that's where things kind of get a little bit different. Another factor that makes them slightly different, even though they're both air signs, is the fact that Aquarius is a fixed sign, fixed air, and then Libra is a cardinal air. So Libra is very much like a starter, initiator. It wouldn't be a surprise if Libra is the person that introduced the relationship, but then Aquarius is the person that more so is fixated on things, meaning once they're in a relationship, Aquarius is like, okay, this is set, we're in the relationship, nothing much to worry about, I'll do my part, you do yours, but they're going to want to put their mind onto other things as well. This is where Aquarius doesn't really get insecurity if Libra does their own thing, but on the other hand, Libra will have insecurity if Aquarius goes off and does their own thing. Gender roles don't really matter here, it goes no matter what situation it may be. My solution to this is simply, if you're a Libra, understand Aquarius is somebody who has a genius level IQ. They need to do their own thing. They need to have abstract thoughts. They're going to need time by themselves, and you need to accept that. And the more you actually detach from their sense of aloofness, is the more attached they're going to get to you, because you're giving them the freedom to come and go as they please. For the Aquarius, my recommendation is to make sure that you're at least fixated on a routine. Libra can teach you a lot about discipline, as Saturn is exalted in their sign. So they're able to really show you a lot about discipline and how to actually bring your abstract thoughts to the real world, especially in the business world. So make sure that you're actually following their advice, listening to your partner's needs, and then actually supplying them as well. Because in any relationship, there's compromise that's required. And if you're not doing your part, you can't expect it to keep going. As a regard to business now, they're a bit higher. I'd say 75% of the time they can work. Reason being is because of some of the components that I brought up in the last summary, is because Libra is able to really ground or at least start some of the thoughts that Aquarius has. So Aquarius in a lot of business situations with these two would be the person that's the innovator, the pioneer, the inventor, and then Libra is able to then carry on their idea in their abstract mind and then bring it to the real world. And they're the type of people that will actually be able to sell a gadget they made, market it better, organize things, and keep everything under the proper sequence. So these guys make a terrific team. When it comes to the power in it, for the most part, oddly enough, Aquarius usually holds the power. They still are a fixed sign. They're very, very strong. And they're able to more so, I guess, carry the business. Whereas Libra can sort of diversify the portfolios, organize things, and make sure things are kept in a certain way. But however, Aquarius still, for the most part, of a lot of examples that I've seen, sort of runs the business as a whole. So when it comes to a power hierarchy, Aquarius is the boss. Libra might be like second in command, or somebody who's just making sure the business keeps operating, similar to like what an HR would do. Last but not least, we have the friendship between these two, about 70%. It's quite average. Libra is quite a social sort of sign. They like to get around like-minded people. They like to have a very small circle of friends. Aquarius can definitely appreciate that. They're not very big on the social life. They like to really spend time by themselves. They're lone wolves. If these guys get along together, it's simply because they were in like something similar, like a hobby, school, work, what have you. Natural attraction, not so much, but they will have a tinge of it just simply because they are both air signs. So the intellectual conversation that they can have as friends will be quite interesting, and they'll never really get bored talking to each other. So it does make for a good connection there. However, for these friends to like be together every day on a consistent manner, highly unlikely, just because Aquarius likes to do his own thing. And then Libra is somebody who likes to spend time with close friends and family. Aquarius on a friendship basis will never really get that close to a Libra in that sequence. But aside from that, guys, that should conclude the video. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, just please leave it in the comments for me. Or if you have your own opinion on it, you disagree, I want to hear about it. Put it in the comments for me. Aside from that, like, subscribe. Let me too for today, guys. Peace.